Welcome back to AM 590, 99.7 on your FM dial and everywhere at newsradioklbj.com. And when you find your favorite podcast on our websites and on Spotify, that's where you can find the Todd and Oz Show and others on News Radio KLBJ. Let's give them the business. It's brought to you by Pinballs. That's Pinballs with a Z, pinballs.com. American Airlines is testing some new technology at 3 airports across the country during the boarding process that aims to cut down on passengers who try to cut in line. Yeah, the technology, which is being tested in Albuquerque and New Mexico and in Arizona as well, and also in Crystal City, alerts gate agents when an audible sound if a passenger tries to scan a ticket ahead of their assigned group. Here's a quote from the story. They say the new technology is designed to ensure customers receive the benefits of priority boarding with ease and helps improve the boarding experience by providing greater visibility into boarding progress of the team. That according to American Airlines. Now, American Airlines said that the gate agent politely lets the customer know that they're unable to accept the pass and asks the customer to rejoin the line when their boarding group is called. In some instances where a customer may not be able to board out of order, like when traveling with a companion of a higher status, the agent has a quick way to override that alert and accept the pass. Although the technology is just in a trial phase, American Airlines says they're pleased with the results so far. J.P. Morgan Chase is suing customers who it claims stole money in a viral ATM glitch scam. Here's newsman Gary Baumgarten.
4 lawsuits have thus far been filed targeting customers that Chase says stole tens of thousands of dollars from the bank. They knew how, the bank says, because of a vulnerability in its ATM system that was posted on social media. Some of the customers exposed themselves by posting videos showing them celebrating their sudden riches. Gary Baumgarten, Fox News.
It is 5:50, and with a look at your money on Wall Street, here's reporter Jessica Ettinger.
Wall Street opens this morning after a winning day for stocks. The Dow was up 250 points yesterday. The S&P 500 index was up 15.
It's been pretty good. The S&P 500 just sort of hanging in there. For 2 weeks, it's been sideways, but we're starting to get overexcited. I mean, banks up another 2% today as a group.
CNBC's Mike Santoli. U.S. crude oil plunged yesterday. It's coming off its worst day in about 2 years after Israel's strike on Iran avoided its oil facilities. But that's great for U.S. drivers. AAA says prices at the pump in about 20 states are already below $3 a gallon for regular. As oil falls, companies that use lots of oil and lots of fuel climbed.
The new high list is essentially littered with travel and leisure names. People are still moving around. New highs again for Delta today. This is like a 4.5-year high for Delta. Remember, United's had great earnings last week. United's at a 4.5-year high. The cruise lines are all on fire. I mean, look at Carnival. That's a 2.5-year high. Same with Royal Caribbean.
CNBC's Bob Pisani. Ford out with slightly better than expected quarterly results after the closing bell last night. Shares popped and then dropped after hours. McDonald's shares were up more than 1% yesterday on word it was the onions behind the E. coli outbreak. Quarter pounder sandwiches going back on menus this week without onions in the 900 restaurants that pulled them. At least 75 people were sickened in 13 states. There was 1 death. On today's watch list, busy for earnings, we get results from Google parent Alphabet, Visa, Chipotle, Pfizer, JetBlue, and McDonald's.
CNBC's Jessica Ettinger with Tuesday Business.
It is 5:52. The Washington Post has been rocked by a tidal wave of cancellations from digital subscribers and a series of resignations from columnists. As the paper grapples with the fallout of owner Jeff Bezos' decision to block an endorsement of Vice President Kamala Harris for president. He wrote an op-ed piece on the decision, and Fox reporter Ainsley Earhart tells us more.
Yeah, he says he's going to defend the decision that because he doesn't want to create a perception of bias. He says we must be accurate, and we must be believed to be accurate. It's a bitter pill to swallow, but we are failing on the second requirement. Most people believe the media is biased. Anyone who doesn't see this is paying scant attention to reality, and those who fight reality lose. Reality is an undefeated champion. Presidential endorsements do nothing to tip the scales of an election. No undecided voters in Pennsylvania are going to say, I'm going with newspaper A's endorsement. None. What presidential endorsements actually do is create a perception of bias. The Washington Post and the New York Times win prizes, but increasingly, we talk only to a certain elite. More and more, we talk to ourselves.
That's Fox reporter Ainsley Earhardt. We do have more on the story in our websites at newsradioklbj.com. A nonprofit using AI to help families impacted by hurricanes in Georgia and North Carolina.
Fox on Tech. Helping those in need with artificial intelligence. The nonprofit Give Directly recently employing the technology to give $1,000 to around 1,000 hurricane-ravaged households in both North Carolina and Florida. The organization used Google-developed AI to focus in on areas that had the worst case of storm damage and poverty. It had folks enroll in a program using an app on their phone that managed SNAP benefits in addition to other benefits, with the donations being sent through the SNAP program's debit cards. SNAP stands for Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program. Laura Keene, a senior program manager at Give Directly, telling the Associated Press it's a good way to distribute aid in as streamlined and dignified a way as possible. Keene adding that hopefully it can be a model that makes disaster aid more effective, saying, "We're always trying to grow the share of disaster response that is delivered as cash, whether that be by FEMA or private actors." With Fox on Tech, I'm Tom Graham, Fox News.
All right, stay close. We got traffic, your forecast of the day's top stories. The Todd and Oz Show straight ahead.
The Todd and Oz Show.
It's tree trimming season once again.